Oh, you're good. Check. Javon said to check it.
Oh, no, you're good.
Javon.
I'd already checked it with the.
That's why I don't know.
We work in communication. Buddy.
Test. Cool.
Sorry, y'all. By the way, I love that we set everything up directly underneath the air vent.
So it's like a different setup, but it's like, yeah, I guess I don't know how to do it. He's super covered the Saints, but they're not that good.
No.
Oh, cool.
So I did come with Falcons.
Everyone's here, huh? Good. Come on. Hey, Nick, how you doing? All right. Now, is everyone ready? Go ahead, through if you want. Yeah. Hi. Everybody ready? Yep. Okay. My name is Robert Broussard. I'm the district attorney here in Madison County. And as you all know, we have conducted an investigation in the incident at Deshler High School. We became involved in this because the district attorney in Colbert County, Hal Houston, recused himself from the matter, which is what he should have done. He knows everyone involved. Anytime in this business, if you have an investigation or a prosecution and you're too close to it, the proper thing is to recuse yourself from it. As a result of that, Attorney General Steve Marshall appointed my office to conduct the investigation. We've been involved in this in a little over a month, and the manpower that we put towards this investigation was Chief Deputy Tim Gann heading up the case, and the investigators we put on it is Chief Investigator Jim Cook and Investigator Chad Harbin to look into the matter. They have made multiple trips over to Colbert County and to the high school and have interviewed multiple people, have canvassed all evidence, all possible evidence in this matter on multiple trips to Deshler High School and to Tuscumbia over there, and we have concluded our investigation. I feel like it's been as thorough as any investigation could have been, and I'm going to let Tim Gann come up here in a second and talk to you in more specifics about the investigation. But let me say this. As part of the investigation, multiple students, faculty at the high school, and other individuals in Colbert County were interviewed, and I got to say this. Everybody involved in this, whether it was students and their parents, they were completely forthcoming. They were very open about this particular incident. The faculty and the administration involved in the schools, they too were completely transparent with our investigators in this. So I could not be more confident in the evidence that we uncovered about this incident. And that leaves me with a good feeling, because like everyone else involved, going into this, obviously it's not our jurisdiction, but through the media, through social media, you know, we, like everyone else, have heard a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, a lot of conspiracy theories about this was some awful beatdown and some assault of a student there at Deshler. And I'm here to tell you the conclusion of our investigation shows that's absolutely not the case. Instead, what we have here, what we've learned, is this is more or less typical high school banter and some limited physical contact involved, with no malice, no anger involved among any of the students, and a freak, unfortunate accident that resulted in the injured student's injuries. When we look through it, and we're not going to mention any names of people that we talked to, mainly because they're juveniles. Everything involved in this are juveniles as far as the active participants. But when we look at it, it's one of those deals where you think this is Everyone here has been through school. Everyone knows what goes on at school, folks cutting up, carrying on. And as I said, it was a freak accident that resulted in serious injury on the injured student. So our job here was to determine what happened, and after determining what happened, whether there was any possibility for any kind of criminal action in this matter. And I'm here telling y'all this case is closed as far as the criminal justice system goes. We are through with it. There's lots of unfortunate things that happen in life, and that does not mean necessarily there must be criminal charges. And we uncovered no evidence that would support any kind of criminal charges in this matter. So this will conclude this case as far as any possibility of criminal action. What I'd like to do is have my Chief Deputy, Tim Gann, come up and walk you through in a little more detail of what the investigation revealed. Tim?
Yeah. During the investigation, our investigators conducted somewhere along the lines of about 17 interviews. During those interviews, they were able to speak to 8 eyewitnesses that were present and watched the events happen. And so what I'm going to do is kind of walk through what the witnesses told our investigators, and I have some photographs up here that hopefully will give everybody some reference to what I'm talking about. Phil, if you don't care, click on the first one. What we uncovered, we have the student that was injured, and we have one student of interest based on the information that we got. They are, by all accounts, friendly with one another. They're not close friends, but they've never had any issues one way or the other. There was no beef. There was no animosity, and that comes from both students. Both students both confirmed that there has never been any issue between the two of them. They're both football players, and that afternoon they had completed a workout at what they refer to as the Armory, but it is their workout facility, and that is located this building right here. Traditionally, they work out for about 30 to 35 minutes. They break it down, and their coaches talk to them, and then after the workouts, they go from this facility to their field house, which is located here, which would be 11A right there, and they do film study. This day they broke it down, and they're leaving this area right here in just groups. They're walking from here basically to there, and there is a sidewalk right here, this area right here. So when they come out, they hit this sidewalk, come down here, and make a turn right here and walk across to this facility. That's where they're heading. Okay, Phil, go ahead. What I'm talking about, this is the workout facility. Looking back toward it, this is the sidewalk they're walking on right here. This is the football field, and you can't see it on screen, but right about here would be the field house where they're headed to do film study. Okay, good. This is looking back the other way. This is the landing and the stairs where it leads down to the road across the street to the field house. Okay, good. This area right here is where the incident happened. The boys are walking with a group of other football players and a coach. There's about a group of 5 walking along with other players, but this group has left the workout facility. They're walking along the sidewalk. Now, they have been cutting up basically all day long. Every time that this group is together, they're laughing and joking like football players do. As they're walking along, the two subjects involved, the injured player and the student of interest, are walking beside each other. The other students are walking around them, and they're talking and they're laughing. At some point, while they're talking and laughing, the student of interest goes behind the injured student, and basically it's referred to as a bear hug by everybody who saw it. He wraps him around the shoulders, and they're walking together in step, and they're laughing and carrying on. One of the witnesses say that the injured student coughed, made a weird sound, and at that point, the student of interest lets go of him, thinking in his mind what he said, that something wasn't right. At that point, the injured student somehow, I don't know how, but he faints or passes out. All the witnesses say that he was going down and he took a couple of steps before he was completely unconscious, which is about this area right here. They're walking this way. This landing right here is about 6 inches tall. The witnesses describe as he is going down, his foot slips off this landing about right here, his left foot, which sends him into kind of a leaning fall to his left side. And at this point, he's completely unconscious. He cannot protect himself. He is falling full force with no hands or no anything to protect himself. His knees hit about right here, and the students describe it as a catapult action. When his knees hit, that his upper body goes forward extremely hard, and the first thing that hits is the side of his face and the front of his face. He lands about this area right here, face down. Immediately, it's obvious that he's injured. He goes into a seizure, and he is having those type symptoms consistent with a severe concussion. Immediately, there's a coach there. The coach immediately tries to stabilize him. There are two people in the parking lot that are waiting on their child to walk by. They see it. The male jumps out, goes to render aid, and immediately, without hesitation, they're rendering aid. They call 911. We recover the 911 calls. EMS, police arrive. They stabilize him, and at some point, they med flight him down to Children's Hospital in Birmingham. By all accounts, during the incident, there is no arguing, there is no fighting, there is nothing but laughter and joking going on. And when he hit the ground, nobody touched him other than to stabilize him, because he is moving kind of uncontrollably because he's having a seizure. I know there were reports of some type of beat down by several students. That did not happen. There is absolutely no evidence to support that theory. The only evidence is that for whatever reason, and it's just speculation on our part, I don't know why he fainted. I know it was right after a workout, so that could have had an effect on it, but there's no way to really know why he fainted, but we all know that he did. And really, we can't say that it had anything to do with what the student of interest was doing, because by all accounts, they were laughing and joking. Once he was med-flighted, he was taken down to Children's Hospital, and he is continuing treatment down there. At that point, students started writing statements from the school. Investigators have also recovered real-time text messages from students to their parents describing the events. And those were provided to the investigators as they asked for them. Every single eyewitness describes these events in exactly the same way, just from a different perspective. And while they're doing interviews, parents are cooperative. They're bringing cell phones so that we can have that evidence. And basically, after we looked at everything and under the circumstances, that's why we came to the conclusion that there's absolutely nothing in the criminal justice system that is appropriate in this because there was absolutely zero ill will and zero reckless behavior going on when this happened. It's a tragic accident and the injuries are terrible, but it's not criminal. So
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Any questions?
If anybody has
Y'all
any
have
questions.
Mayor Tim.
We'll just start.
In this investigation, how much of the information came from Mr. Borden himself? How much conversation were you able to have with him?
We were able to talk with, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, we were able to talk with him last week. He had had about a month to recover, and he was very lucid with us and was able to give us quite a bit of information.
And his account matched up.
Well, his account matched up to when they got to the Army to work out, but unfortunately, he didn't remember anything after that. So, which is understandable based on the circumstances.
This may not be part of the criminal investigation, probably was revealed in your interviews. I know the parents were very upset about how the school didn't directly contact them when this accident happened. Did you find out why there was this kind of break in communication?
That wasn't really part of our investigation. I can say this, that every time that they interviewed a student, the parents were notified and most of the time responded and sat in on the interviews. That was the school policy as far as us doing interviews. School policy on how they handled it with the parents and all that, I don't have any opinion or issue on that because that wasn't what we were looking for. Yes, ma'am.
Going off of what some of the parents or some of the family members had said is that it took you guys a little bit of time to speak with the students. So will you confirm exactly when that first interview was conducted with the students who were there?
I think we got involved
September the 4th.
September the 4th. Is when we got involved. We started interviewing students the very next week. The investigators, we all traveled over there to meet with the family, and we began interviews immediately. There were some preliminary statements given to law enforcement, and our investigators took those statements. We have those statements, and they were basically just brief statements done by the school. But after we did the interviews with everyone, those statements did not contradict themselves. We just got a whole lot more information when we sat down and talked to them. But the statements of what happened were pretty consistent from start to finish, from real-time text messages and statement writing to when we completed our interviews last week. Everything's been very consistent.
And then a follow-up question to that. Did you speak to the student's doctor at all to see if what the statements were saying with injuries matched up with what they said?
I did not speak to the doctor, but I listened to conversations the family had with the doctor. And I think what the doctor would have said if asked, and I think he actually said this, is these injuries were consistent with an assault. There's no question, and I would agree with that wholeheartedly. The injuries, because they are severe, and the location where they're located, I think they are consistent, but there's no doctor in the world that can say what happened while they're an hour and a half away and not an eyewitness. They can say what it's consistent with, and I think this doctor said that, and I think I would agree 100% that it is consistent with an assault. But based on eyewitness testimony, we know that that is not the case.
And what was your interaction with Mr. Borden's parents like in terms of letting them know that this is what the conclusion of your investigation showed? And, how was the tone there?
I think I've had a very good relationship with his parents. I spoke with them yesterday once we concluded everything. They have been very cooperative with us as a team, and I think I've sat down with them at least 3 times and spoken with them on the phone. And really what we wanted to do is just to be as transparent as we could. And so real-time text messages, I would keep them updated on what we were doing. I didn't give them details because the investigation was ongoing, but almost daily and several times a week, we would text back and forth, and I would let them know, hey, we're interviewing these witnesses. We are doing this. Just keeping them updated on the investigation as it was going on. As they're doing the investigation, they're reporting to me, and then I'm talking to them. I think they were somewhat maybe disappointed that we are not pursuing charges, but I think they absolutely understand why. That this does not necessarily fit in the criminal justice system. There are other remedies for something like this, but it's just not in the criminal justice system. So I would say that they were receptive to the information that we gave them, and we sat down with them and went over all the evidence, allowed them to listen to the descriptions of the witnesses of what happened. So they know as much as we know. And I will say this, every single parent, including his parents, were very cooperative and very gracious to us.
There's been a lot of buzz on social media, even the Borden family saying that they had heard from other school officials what had really happened. Where did all of this come from, this outside noise?
That is not part of what we were asked to deal with. We did do a lot of rumor control. That was part of what I was doing while they're actually doing the nuts and bolts. I'm trying to do rumor control, and as we would get tips in, I would follow up on those. And so I don't know how the social media, I guess, frenzy, I don't know how that happened, and luckily we weren't tasked to figure out why that happened.
You said you'd get tips in. How did you guys kind of vet those tips? Because I can imagine there would be some that were from way different stories.
Anybody that said they actually saw something, we followed up. Not what people heard or what they think, but someone who said, hey, I saw X, Y, and Z, those were followed up on. And
Yeah, let me.
I'll just turn it
Yeah.
that way.
Let me say this, though. I mean, it's clear to everyone that this was an extremely unfortunate accident. But I think a subplot here, not in any way to minimize that a student was injured, the subplot here, in my way of thinking, are the perils of social media. Because you look at this, and my partner, Gann, said it was a frenzy, and it was a frenzy. And you look at it and you think, these are perilous times we live because of social media. This wouldn't have happened 20 years ago, where there's something going and the process would have taken out. There's been frustration with us. Why did it take a month? Well, we're thorough, and we deal in the world of evidence, not in the world of rumors and social media and sensational kind of chatter out there. So you look at that aspect of it, and it really ought to be sobering to people. And I'll give you an example. There was another student in the high school who was in the process of getting a scholarship with a college. And somebody called that college and told the college that student was part of the beatdown on another student. And that university called this office to ask about that, because we're about to give this guy a scholarship. Is he some thug? He wasn't even present. So when I see that, as horrible as an accident is, man, there's a lot of collateral damage that people ought to just back up a little bit and think about what they're doing when they get on the keyboard and they're weighing in. Because we got to the truth, and we got to the truth because of these two investigators right here. And they do it, like I say, we don't live in the world of rumors or speculation. We live in the world of evidence, and when we get to the truth, we're satisfied, and it is what it is. But that's a definite subplot of social media, so watch out.
Just speaking on that frenzy, during the talk, you said that you heard from some people that they said there was some kind of beatdown, some kind of fight. Can you confirm that those were not eyewitness statements?
Absolutely, they were not eyewitness statements. That was complete rumor. We spoke to, 8 eyewitnesses Some of them
Come over
parents.
here if you want.
Oh, sorry. We spoke to 8 eyewitnesses. The football players that were there was a coach present, and then there were 2 civilians who were just standing in the parking lot or sitting in the parking lot, and they saw the entire event. And it's like there's the thought of a beatdown never crossed their mind because they were actually watching it happen and reacting to this horrible injury. Where the beatdown came from, I have no idea, but there is absolutely no evidence to support that.
You said they were cutting up. Do you know what they were cutting up about, or does it even matter?
It doesn't even really matter. It was basically just boys joking on each other as teenage boys do. That's the best way I can describe it.
Would you guys, as the investigators, want to say anything about how you think the case went or anything?
Come on, boy.
I thought the case went very well.
Come over here, big man.
Yeah, I do think the case went very well in regards to the cooperation that we had with everybody involved, the people of the town, the coaches, the admin, the witness parents. It was perfect, and I feel good about that, if nothing else. Okay? Thank you.
Anything else? All right.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it.